guys, how's everybody's night going? Well, I decided to jump on here and do another true crime video. Well, I don't know what made me think of this case because I remember reading this book. It ain't been too long ago. It's called Poison Love. I cannot remember who it is by, but I actually came across it. But look, it's tore. It's like missing like a whole 2 chapters, I think, or it might be a whole. Hold on. I think it's missing the whole 1 chapter. But this was actually a very good book. It was based on it's a true crime book, obviously, as you would know. But I recommend you to get it and read it. It's called Poison Love, but I cannot tell you who it's by. I forgot. And it's like, yeah, it's been through it. But just look it up and it'll tell you, because it's a story involving a beautiful blonde girl named Kristin Rossum and her fiance Greg DeVillers. I don't know where to begin with this case, guys. I was wanting to read y'all, like, take the opportunity and read y'all some of the book to give y'all, like, an understanding at where we're coming from with this. And you know, as a matter of fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. No, I'm not going to do that, because then I'm going to ruin it. So, you know, we're just going to talk about it. Pardon me, guys. Yeah, we're just going to talk about it and go from there and see what you think. If you would want to, you know, read the book and if you are interested in the case. So, with that being said, let's get to reading and let's get to know a little bit about Kristin Rossum. Guys, I'm trying to pull up a picture or something that you would actually be able to see. Like my phone is just so at times. But anyways, I'm just going to read this out to y'all. Her name was Kristin Margaret Rossum. She was born October 26th of 1976. She was born in, if I'm not mistaken, Minnesota, maybe. I know she was born somewhere out in the Midwestern part of the United States. Anyways, that's where she was born at. She was an American toxicologist. But unfortunately, she lost that title. Well, not unfortunately, good enough for her that she lost her title, considering, you know, that she was convicted of murder on November 6th of 2000, and she was convicted of murdering her spouse, her husband, the love of her life, Greg DeVillers, with a fatal overdose of fentanyl that she had gotten from her toxicology lab that she was working in. Because as you guys know, when you work in a toxicology lab, you got all types of, you know, drugs. I mean, it's like a candy store when you work in a toxicology place like that. But also, you know, in order for you to work in a unit like that, you got to have that trust. You know, you can't have no kind of like, you're not supposed to have any kind of, you know, past that has to do anything with drug usage, any kind of drug convictions or anything like that. But somehow, some way, this chick right here, I think it's because she's beautiful and blonde, you know, got a job as a toxicologist, but in her record, it clearly states where she was addicted to methamphetamine, like in her teens, all the way through her, through her 20s, and was still, dabbling in it, was still, an addict to methamphetamine. But she's a toxicologist. There's a problem with that, guys. I think so too. I think so. Veronica thinks so. There's a problem behind that. Right now she is serving a life sentence in a women's correctional center in California. Could visit her if you like, guys. She grew, well, my bad, she was not, I don't know where she was born. It just says that she grew up in Claremont, California. She is the oldest child of Ralph and Kristin Rossum. Her father was a professor at Claremont McKenna, which is a college, and her mother worked at the Azusa Pacific College. It was university. She has two brothers. One, I think, Kristen's the oldest, and then I think his name is maybe been Preston, and I'm not sure of the youngest's name, but Preston was born like 3 years after Kristen, and then along came the baby boy, who was born 4 years after Kristen. In 1991, Rossum's father accepted the position of president at a Hampden-Sydney College in Southside, Virginia. The Rossum family moved to Virginia, and Kristen enrolled at a pardon me, guys, I got the hiccups. But she enrolled as a boarding student at an all-girls St. Catherine School in Richmond, Virginia. While there, Rossum began using marijuana, drinking beer, and smoking. So, my question is, I'm not sure, because this happened when she was way younger, like when she was in her teen years. So I'm not sure if they actually pulled her record on when she was younger. I'm not sure of that, but if they did, they would notice that these problems, that she has been having these problems. And in 1992, she started using methamphetamine. For you guys, which I'm pretty sure y'all know what methamphetamine is, but just in case, somebody does not know what methamphetamine is, it is a crystal shard-based stimulant that contains the main ingredient of Adderall, and the other ingredients is that of household products. I'm not going to sit here on my channel and tell you how to make methamphetamine. I'm not going to do that. All you know is it's the most harmful substance you can put into your body. If only you knew everything that was in methamphetamine, crystal meth, crank, and all that. If only we're not going to get started in that. The main ingredient that you do gotta get is the Adderall, Ritalin. Only certain things, like mostly Adderall, it will be used more than like Ritalin or Straterin or Criteria, however you say it, or it's usually Adderall that is used. In 1994, Kristen enrolled part-time at a university in the Redlands and moved into a dormitory on campus. But relapsed and left campus, eventually relocating to Chula Vista, a suburb of San Diego. She met Greg there. And within a year, Rossum appeared to be over her methamphetamine addiction and graduated honors in 1998. But little did everybody not know, she was just hiding the addiction. She was still addicted to that and many other substances, as you and me will read about right here, not too far on down the line. She wore that mask. It was a mask that she put on for everybody. And yeah. After graduating, she worked as a toxicologist. In the medical examiner's office in San Diego. She and DeVellers married in 1999. But then this chick, I guess she wanted her ice cream and her cookies too. She ended up having an affair with her boss, whose name was Michael Robertson. That affair beginning in 2000. So it's kind of making you think, like, when she was having this affair, her husband all of a sudden dies, like, a year later. Like, what? Something wrong, right, guys? Something is fishy about this. I said it was fishy from the get-go when they decided to hire her as a toxicologist, when this chick has a history of drug abuse. But on November the 6th of 2000, just after 9:15 p.m., Kristin called 911, saying that Greg DeVellers, her husband, the love of her life, was cold to the touch and not breathing. The paramedics arrived. When they did arrive, they found Rossum on the phone in the living room. Her husband, who was unresponsive, was still laying on the couple's bed. That was, listen to this, guys. He was laying on the couple's bed, and around him, so you laying flat down, and around him like this, there were red rose petals. Like, y'all know that movie American Beauty, how Kevin Spacey is daydreaming, and all of a sudden red rose petals just come washing down over him. And guys, that is one of Kristin's favorite movies. Yeah, that part. But yeah, all around him was red rose petals. Because at first the paramedics thought that it was droplets of blood that was smearing, And he got to touching it, and he realized that hell no, these are rose petals. What are rose petals doing scattered around Greg's body? What? Who done this? What? But the kicker is still yet to come, guys. Still yet to come. Yeah. Okay, Greg was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital, which was approximately 10:19, I think, a little after 10:19. They pronounced him dead. But if you read the book, you will see all of the measures that they took to try to get Greg, pardon me, guys. Greg resuscitated, to get his heart going again. You will see all of the measures that were taken. They took everything, including taking the train, down the throat, pumping air into his lungs. They did everything they could to try to save this man. They did. And whenever they finally got him to the hospital, they finally realized that there was nothing else they can do, and he was pronounced dead a little after 10:19 p.m., which is very sad. But what pisses me off is that, like, right after her husband was pronounced dead, she calls none other than Michael Robertson, the boss she's having an affair with. Yeah, she calls him up to the hospital before she even contacts Greg's parents or brothers or any of his relatives. She calls this dude that she is sleeping with, her boss. This chick must think that the sun sets in her ass because she's blonde and beautiful. I don't know. Listen to this. His wife told the authorities that he committed suicide. The problem with this suicide thing is, Greg was not a drug abuser. He was not a drug user. He was not even really drink. He was more like a social drinker. Then it was more like maybe a beer or two. He was never like really, sloppy drunk or nothing. He definitely was not the type that's going to shoot up or, pop pills or, nothing like that. He was actually a very healthy guy, and he prided himself on his health. So that was one of the problems with her suicide thing. Developers had learned about the affair that she was having with Michael, and discovered she had relapsed into using meth again. And in Kristin's words, this is why he killed himself, which is bullshit. But yeah. In Kristin's words, this goes, he had threatened Rossum that he would expose her affair and her drug use to the medical examiner's office if she did not quit her job. That in itself does not sound anything like the Craig that I read about. I don't know. Robertson, who also knew Rossum had relapsed, learned of this threat before Developers was killed. Although it appeared that Rossum's suicide ruse had worked well, Greg's family was not buying it. They were very suspicious from the get-go, and rightfully so, because a mother knows their child more than anybody, no matter how old they get, no matter nothing. Us as mothers, we know our kids, and we know that, if our kids did commit suicide, if our kids did not, like, I'm not even going to sit and lie. Like, whenever I attempted to commit suicide, I did it like a couple of times. And, after the first time, my mama finally came to the terms that I was just a suicidal person at the time. And that, she was like, yes, she done it to herself. She's dumb. She was a dumb bitch, man, But, like I said, a mother knows their child, and the brothers know their brother, and that they were not buying it. They were not buying it at all. It was very suspicious to them, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Okay. Woo, excuse me, guys. Okay. His brother, Jerome, was particularly adamant that Craig was not suicidal. Despite this, San Diego police reluctantly just said it was a suicide case and closed it, guys. Did not let no farther into it. Ma'am, it's just suicide, but it was a fatal overdose of fentanyl, and he had rose petals scattered around his body, and he was holding a wedding picture of him and Kristin on their wedding day, but it was suicide, all because this chick was having an affair and relapsed onto meth. Do you not know how stupid that will sound? A cop telling a mother and that mother knowing better. Like, I mean, do not get me wrong, that she loved Kristin like the daughter-in-law that she was. She did. But whenever the truth finally started to rear its ugly head, she started to despise that girl because she knew that that girl took her son away from her. So, a month after Greg's death, Rossum and Robertson were both fired. Kristin for hiding her meth habit, and Robertson for hiding his knowledge of her habits and having their affair together. The case took a new turn when the San Diego medical examiner outsourced the autopsy of the DeVellers to be an outside lab in Los Angeles. Authorities was concerned about a possible conflict of interest from performing an autopsy on an employee's husband. The test showed DeVellers had 7 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system. Fentanyl is so very rarely prescribed, guys, that the Los Angeles lab is one of the few that tested for it back in this time. But nowadays, it is one of the drug of choice now, and the drug that is killing a lot of young people now. And so that is actually now one of the main drugs that they test for whenever, there is a fatal overdose. That fentanyl is the first thing that they test for fentanyl and heroin and, meth and all that. Like back then, this happened in 2000. Fentanyl was, just becoming a thing of a drug, and it was widely prescribed in patch form. And the ones that got it in patch form, like you could melt it down and get the medicine off of it or something like that. Or you could wear the patch and you would still feel the effects because it goes through your bloodstream. But you got to realize, though, that's something like back in 2000 that they did not test for because they did not think of fentanyl was not being abused at that time. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was, but it was not widely as abusive as it is today. But yeah, 7 times, guys, the lethal dose. It's enough to kill 3 humans or 7 humans, something like that. I'm not good with math. 2 weeks after her husband's death, Rossum was interrogated by the police. She told the detectives that her husband had been depressed before he died. Kristin's father stated that she seemed to be deeply distressed and thought he drank wine and gin heavily that night. Now remember, Greg was not a drinker. Nobody has ever saw him drunk, not sloppy drunk, nothing like that. He might have drunk a beer or 2 when he was out with the guys. That means he was just a social drinker. Now, Kristin's dad over here is trying to say that he was heavily into drinking wine and gin. He would be sloppy drunk, if he was drinking that every day, all night. He would be so drunk he couldn't kill himself. He probably killed himself from alcohol poisoning. Then, these people sound so freaking stupid. But, oh, Lordy. In a television interview months after Craig's death, not Craig, Greg, my apologies, guys. I don't know why I keep saying Craig, but it's Greg. Rossum stated, quote, "He was making a big deal of the last rose standing. I think he was just making a statement that he knew our relationship was over," unquote. Probably exactly how she sounded. Oh my lord. She telephoned his office and told his employers that he would not be coming into work the day of his murder. So why did this chick call his office before, anything and tell them that he was not going to be in his office today, that he was not feeling well? Well, I mean, come on, guys. Something ain't right here. It ain't. But we're going to find out a little something, though,
We got about 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. Okay. While the investigation continued, police learned that Kristin had relapsed and was using meth again. On June 26, 2001, 7 months after Greg's murder, Kristin was arrested and charged with murder. On January 4th, 2002, her parents posted her $1.25 million bill. Somebody got some money. Somebody's parents has got some money. And it's sure not my father, probably not my viewers, right? We poor over here. If I murdered somebody, even if my dad did have the money, he would leave me sitting right in there. He'd be like, no, you done it, you're sitting in there. You're gonna leave me sitting right in there. Because when I went to jail up in the mountains, I did up in Boone, he left me sitting there for a week, and that was my first time ever getting in any kind of serious trouble like that, but he let me stand there for a week. The prosecution contended that Kristin killed her husband to keep him from telling her bosses that she was having an affair with the chief toxicologist, Michael, and that she was using methamphetamine and that she stole from the coroner's lab. Defense attorneys argued that Greg was suicidal and poisoned himself. Kristin's brother-in-law, Jerome DeVellers, testified that it was difficult to believe his brother had committed suicide because he hated drugs. Remember me telling you that, guys? Yeah. The 911 tape played in court appeared to indicate Kristin was administering CPR to her husband. According to Kristin's Bond's card history, she had purchased a single rose herself. So what is that telling you guys? She purchased a single rose herself. I'm fixing this, guys. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to shake my bed. But she purchased one single rose herself. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, guys. So this has just been a little too obvious, right? I know. On November 12th of 2002, Kristin was found guilty of first-degree murder. On December 12th of 2002, Kristin was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility for parole and was taken back to the San Diego jail before being transferred to the Central Facility for Women in California. Correctional facility for women in California. After sentencing, the judge ordered Kristin to pay a $10,000 fine. In 2006, Greg DeVeller's family sued Rossum in San Diego County in a wrongful death suit. On March 25, 2006, a San Diego jury ordered Kristin to pay more than $100 million in punitive damages. San Diego County was ordered to pay $1.5 million. John Gomez, the lawyer for the DeVeller family, said that the punitive damages may have been the most ever assessed against an individual defendant in California history. He also acknowledged that the family may never see the money, but wanted to make sure Kristin does not profit from her crime. The family had originally asked for $50 million in punitive damages, but jurors awarded double that amount after estimating Kristin could have made $60 million from selling the rights to her story. A judge later reduced the punitive damages reward to $10 million, but allowed the $4.5 million confiscated award to stand. So this trick was going to try to make money off of her story. And the judge is like, well, if you're going to make money off of your story, the Vellers, the family of the man that you killed, is going to get more of that profit than you are. You ain't going to hardly get nothing, chick. Lord. In September 2010, a 3-judge panel of the Ninth U.S. Court Appeals ruled that Kristin's lawyers should have challenged the prosecution's assertion by doing its own test that Kristin poisoned her husband with fentanyl. The panel ordered a San Diego federal court to hold a hearing into whether the defense errors could have affected the trial's outcome. Kristin had exhausted her state appeals and had turned to federal court. So they're trying to say that basically she didn't poison him, he poisoned himself. You know, liars, you know, like Medea say, you know, that's what lawyers do for you, right? On September 13th, 2011, the U.S. Court of Appeals withdrew its opinion and replaced it with a one-paragraph statement that under a new U.S. Supreme Court precinct, Kristin's petition was denied. Robinson returned to his home in Brisbane. I know, guys, right? I'm crazy. Australia, after being terminated by the medical examiner's office. He had to go and take care of his mother, who was in failing health. In September 2013, the San Diego Reader reported that in 2006, prosecutors secretly filed a criminal complaint charging Robinson with one count of conspiracy to obstruct justice, which means he basically ran and did not take responsibility. If he ever returns to the United States for trial, he could face up to 3 years in prison. He was named God, I'm so tongue-tied, guys. He could face up to 3 years. Okay. He was named as a unindicated co-conspirator in Kristin's 2001 trial. As of 2014, Robinson is running a forensic consulting service in Brisbane. Yeah. Sad but true. You can find episodes of this, like they have it on Auction, and I think it's like called it's the episode of Snapped. I swear I first seen it at also, you can go on Women Who Kill, Investigator Discoveries, Deadly Women, Deadly Affairs, and How Not to Kill Your Husband. This story is widely known. Whoever, sold the rights to this movie is probably living pretty good right now and not having nothing to worry about. Also, her story was featured on 48 Hours. The episode called American Beauty. Was it murder or suicide? Also, in 2004, it was featured on True TV, The Investigators, in an episode titled Pretty Poison. The story was also featured on, like I said, Deadly Women on season 1, episode 11, which is under Forbidden Love. then I was telling you, remember the book I was saying about in the beginning? It's called Poisoned Love. It is by Caitlin Rother. She interviewed for each episode. She wrote the book. And then she also wrote another book called Deadly American Beauty with no, she didn't write that. John Gelt did. It's called it's about the Rossum case. It's called The Deadly American Beauty. Both of these books are so awesome. I recommend you to read both of them to get the insight. And with that, you can tell me your opinion on it. My opinion on this is that she murdered her husband, and she is where she deserves to be at, and that is in a women's correctional facility in California. I don't think she needs to get out because if she was to get married again and relapse or have an affair or something, she'll probably kill her husband. So I think she would be a danger out here in society. Anyways, guys, that's it for me tonight. I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to try to look at the rest of Armageddon, which I think I missed most of it. I love that movie, guys. I don't know what it is about it, but I love it. I think it is because I love looking at AJ Ben Affleck. The young Ben Affleck was so freaking cute. So fun, guys. So fun he was. I think that's why. Anyways, guys, remember to always put God first, or whatever higher power you believe in. Put them first. Be kind and stay beautiful, because everybody is beautiful in their own unique way. No matter what, never let nobody tell you you're not. Okay? Because you're not. Because guess what? I love you and I think you're beautiful. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Mwah!